this is now becoming old hat for us in the journalism business, and for folks even in Atlanta, since they've done so many of these in the last 10 days. What do you see there? Is it more media than outsiders? Are there protesters? Set the scene.
Hi there, Chuck. Well, I'll set the scene here, and then we'll get to some breaking news that we're actually just starting to look at a new court filing right now. But let me set the scene right now, Chuck. Several dozen Trump supporters have been here throughout the day. We've seen a ramped-up security presence here. Former President Trump, as you may have mentioned, within the last few hours, has posted on his social media site that he does expect to surrender here in Atlanta at 7:30 p.m. Eastern time tonight. And we have seen, even actually, Chuck, in the last minute or so, more sheriff's deputy vehicles, more police vehicles that have shown up here at the main entrance of the Fulton County Jail. There's a separate entrance where some of my colleagues are at, where we expect the former president to come in. He'll be fingerprinted, likely get a mugshot taken. And we've been getting those mugshots relatively quickly after each of the defendants have surrendered. You mentioned two of the most recent ones that we just got this afternoon, former Trump Chief of Staff Mark Meadows, who negotiated a $100,000 bond, and also another Trump ally, Harrison Floyd, who was also here, surrendered. But what's different about him, Chuck, is that according to the Fulton County Sheriff, he did not negotiate a bond. So as we understand it, he is still in custody. The only defendant so far that is still in custody. Now, I want to get to the scheduling issue because I'm just looking at some court documents now that I'm reading live on the air. But this afternoon, you mentioned it in your introduction, Fani Willis was pushing for a start date of October 23rd, much sooner than she had initially called for, and that's less than 2 months from now. Incredible. And when you think about it, because many legal experts have said, just with such a sweeping case with the racketeering charges involved, no way they could get it done in time. Well, according to a court filing just now, a judge's order, there does seem to be a timetable set for that, as hard as it may be to believe, and I'm reading this for the first time. This is in the case of Kenneth Chesebro, a former Trump attorney, who was asking for a speedy trial, surprised many. And here is the schedule as I'm looking at this court document for the first time. The arraignment would occur on September 6, 2023, so just in a few weeks. Discovery would be due by September 20th, 2023. Motions by September 27th. Pretrial conference September 29th. And then a trial would potentially begin on October 23rd, 2023. Now, I have a lot of questions about that, Chuck. Certainly our legal experts would, like to weigh in on that, on whether that's even feasible. One thing I would also say is that this afternoon, the Trump legal team said, look, we don't agree with this. We want to sever our case from anybody that's asking for a speedy trial at this point. Of course, the Trump legal team has said repeatedly that they, want this to drag out potentially until after the 2024 election. But then again, that developing news is that, according to a new court filing, it is possible that at least the judge may be on track to try and get this to an August 23rd start date. Unclear whether that will happen.
And Gabe, this is
all those
Kenneth.
New developments in the last few hours, Chuck.
Kenneth Chesebro. He's the one, because he's one of the unindicted co-conspirators in the federal case as well. He's the one asking for a speedy trial here. Okay.
That is right. And that he asked for that in motion earlier this week, surprised a lot of observers, but he's the one asking for it. And now, it appears that, the DA called his bluff essentially and said, yes, we want it October 23rd, much earlier than anticipated. And this all comes as, again, we await the former president's surrender in prime time tonight, Chuck.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.